I was just crying about some nonsense. War. Two. Oh, sorry I didn't grab that for you. I should have been quicker on my feet. I said I should have offered to carry that for you. Sorry. Thank you. Hello. Shit, like crazy because I'm crying. Hey. So this is Samuel 1. 1 1. Samuel 2 is the one people are more familiar with. It's the one with David. But I like good lead in. This is the story of Elkanah, a man of the tribe of Ephraim who lived in the Ramathaim Zophim. Interesting area. In the hills of Ephraim. His father's name was Jeroham. By the way, it's good to look up these names if you have a Bible yourself. I don't really have time to do that, but each one of these names means something. In fact, the definitions of the words often are the names. So that's also kind of an interesting layer to it. His grandfather was Elihu. His great grandfather was Tahu. His great great grandfather was Zoph. And he had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had some children, but Hannah didn't. Each year, Elkanah and his families enjoyed the tabernacle at Shiloh and worshipped the Lord of the heavens to sacrifice to him. The priest on the duty were the two sons Elhapanah and Eli Hophani and Phinehas. On the day he presented his sacrifice, Elkanah, I didn't get this right. I was going to call him Elkanah. Okay. Elkanah would celebrate the happy occasion giving presents to Peninnah and her children. I've never read this one aloud. So these names are kind of hard. But altogether, he loved Hannah very much. He could give her only one present, for for the Lord had sealed her womb, so she had no children to give presents to. Paniah had made matters worse by taunting Hannah because of her barrenness. Every year it was the same. Paniah had scoffing and laughing at her as they went to Shiloh, making her cry so much as she couldn't eat. That What's the matter, Hannah? Al-Kahah would exclaim. Why aren't you eating? Why make such faces making such why make such a fuss over having no children? Isn't having me better than having 10 sons? One evening after supper, when they were at Shiloh, Hannah went over to the tabernacle. Ali, the priest, was sitting at his customary place beside the entrance. She was in a deep anguish, crying bitterly as she prayed to the Lord. And as she made this vow, and she made this vow. Excuse me. I'm getting in the hang of it. My mind is still of a swirl, I guess, right now. That's why I'm reading. O Lord, O heaven, if you will look down upon my sorrow and answer my prayer, give me a son, and I will give him back to you, and he will be yours for my entire life, and his hair shall never be cut. Eli noticed her mouth was moving as she was praying silently, and hearing no sound, thought she had been drinking. Uh, wow. Must you come here drunk? He commanded. Throw away that bottle. Oh no, sir, she replied. I'm not drunk, but I'm very sad, and I was pouring out my heart to the Lord. Please don't think that I'm just some drunken bub. In that case, Eli said, cheer up. May the Lord of Israel grant your petition, whatever it is. Oh, thank you, sir, she exclaimed, and went happily back and began on her meals again. The entire family was up early the next morning and went to the tabernacle to worship the Lord once more. Then they returned home to Ramah, and when the Lord kept, excuse me, and when Elkanah slept with Hannah, the Lord remembered her petition, and in the process of time, a baby was born to her. She named him Samuel, meaning asked of God, because she said, I asked the Lord for him, my child, Samuel. The next year, Elkanah and Peninnah and her children went on to an annual trip to the tabernacle without Hannah, for she told her husband, wait until the baby is weaned, and then I will take him to the tabernacle and leave him there. Well, whatever you think is best, Elkanah agreed. May the Lord be done. May the Lord be done. May the Lord's will be done. So she strayed home until the baby was weaned. Then, though he was still small, they took him to the tabernacle in Shiloh, along with a 3-year-old baby bull for him to set for the sacrifice, and a bushel of flour and some wine. After the sacrifice, they took the child to Eli. Sir, do you remember me? Hannah asked him. I am the woman who stood here that time praying to the Lord. I asked him to give me this child, and he has given me my request. And now I am here giving my child as he lives. So she left him there at the tabernacle for the Lord's use. This was Hannah's prayer. How I rejoice in the Lord, how he blessed me. Now I have an answer to my enemies. For the Lord has solved my problems. How I rejoice. No one is as holy as the Lord. There is no other God, nor any other rock like our God. Quit acting in so proud and arrogant. The Lord knows what you have done, and he will judge your deeds. Those who are mighty more, are no mighty more, excuse me, are mighty no more. Those who are weak are now strong. Those who are strong are now starving. Those who are starving are now fed. The bare woman now has 7 children. She, with many children, has no more. The Lord kills. The Lord kills, the Lord gives life. Some he causes to be poor, the others rich. He cuts one down and lifts another up. He lifts the poor from the dust, and yes, from a pile of ashes. He treats them as princes, sitting in the seats of honor, for all the earth is the Lord's, and he is he who sets the world in order. He will protect his godly ones, but the wicked shall be silenced in darkness. So no one shall succeed by strength alone. Those who fight against the Lord shall be broken. He thunders against them from heaven. He judges throughout the earth. He gives mighty strength to his king. He gives great glory to his anointed one. So they returned home to Ramah without Samuel, and the child became the Lord's helper, for he assisted Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were evil men who didn't love the Lord. It was their regular practice to send out a servant whenever anyone was offering a sacrifice. While the flesh of the sacrificed animal was boiling, the servant would put a three-pronged flesh hook into the pot and demand that whatever was brought forth was given to Eli's sons. Interesting. Hey, wow. So I don't know the context. Maybe they're very hungry, but the main thing is that this is a sacrifice for God, and the servants are forcing a servant to negate the law, to give them a good savory piece of meat that was intended for the Lord, probably to gain some sort of magical powers. Because the meat is like in a transition period into God, and so you can like kind of take it in that process and sort of maybe eat something godly in a digestible form or something. Intuiting my inner Matthew Pajot. Sometimes the servant would. Sometimes he'd even come before the rite had been performed and would demand raw meat before it was boiled so it could be used for roasting. If the man offering the sacrifice replied, "Take as much as you want, but the fat must be burned, as the law requires," then the servant would say, "No, give it to me now, or I'll take it by force." So, the sin of these young men was very great in the eyes of the Lord, for they treated people's offerings to the Lord with contempt. Samuel, though an only child, was the Lord's helper, and wore a little linen robe, just like the priests. Each year, hi, each year his mother made a little coat for him and brought it to him. And we came to me and brought it to him when she came with her husband for the sacrifice. Before they returned home, Eli would bless Elkanah and Hannah and ask God to give them another child to take this place. One, excuse me. They asked for another child, one to take the place that this one that they had given to the Lord. And the Lord gave Hannah 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, oh, wow. 3 sons, 2 daughters. Just a hunch. Sorry, my book's in order. Wait, what? It fell. Oh. I made 7 cents. That'd be too obvious. Meanwhile, Samuel grew up in the service of our Lord. Eli was now very old, but he was aware what was going around him. He knew, for instance, that his sons were seducing young women who assisted at the entrance of the tabernacle. I've been hearing terrible reports from the Lord's people about what you are doing. Eli told his sons, it is an awful thing to make the Lord's people sin. Ordinary sin receives heavy punishment. How much more sin, my son, would yours be against our Lord? But they wouldn't listen to the old man, their father. But the Lord was already planning to kill them. That's an interesting way to put it. But for the Lord was already planning to kill them. Little Samuel was growing up in 2 ways. He was getting taller and becoming everyone's favorite. I'm kidding. And he was he was a favorite of the Lord's too. Yeah, I hate that guy too. No kidding. One day, a prophet came to Eli and gave him this message from the Lord. Didn't I demonstrate my power? And he was the Lord's favorite too. One day, a prophet came to Eli and gave him this message from the Lord. I didn't demonstrate my power when I took my people from slaves in Egypt, did I? Did I choose? Excuse me. Didn't I demonstrate my power? Excuse me. Didn't I choose your ancestor Levi from all among his brothers to be my priest, and to sacrifice him upon my altar, to burn incense, to wear priestly robe as he served me? And didn't I assign the sacrificial offerings to you priests? Then why are you greedy above all of these offerings with which you have brought me? Why have you honored your sons more than me? For you have become fat from the best offerings of my people. Therefore, I, the Lord God of Israel, declare that although I promise your branch of tribes of Levi could always be my priests, it is ridiculous to think that I that would do that in the sight of what you are doing. Excuse me. I'll just read it correctly. It is ridiculous to think that you are doing can continue. There we go. I will honor only those who honor me, and I despise those who despise me. I will put an end to your family so that it will no longer serve as priests. Every member will die before his time. None shall be old. You will envy the prosperity I will give my true people. But you and your family will be in distress and need. And if you complain to me, I tell thee, I will know the seat. Excuse me. I will know the tree for its fruit. If I have a lemon tree and I eat a lemon and it's sour, then what if I have to make it the tree? Aye. It's a lemon tree. It's a lemon. I'm getting lemons. Is it a good tree or a bad tree? It's very simple. Eli. It's very simple, Eli. It's the same fucking thing. I'm sorry, but what is your job, shepherd? In your time here, you're supposed to look at the union of heaven and earth. And what does it tell you? You know, who are you supposed to become? What mysterious hand saved you from death? Why are you even still alive at this moment? I've seen your organs. They make no fucking sense. Kidding. Okay. But here's Dad. Alright, maybe. Those who are left alive will live in sadness and grief, and their children shall die by the sword. And don't tell me nothing about it. Aye. And sorry. That's why I was crying, by the way. So maybe this was out of context. And to prove that what I have said will come true, I will cause your two sons, Hophni and Phanes, to die the same day. Then I will rise up a faithful priest who will serve me and do whatever I tell him to do. I will bless his descendants, and his family shall be priests to my kings forever. Then all your descendants shall bow before him, begging for money and food. Please, please, they will say, give me a job amongst the priests so I will have something to eat. Meanwhile, the little Samuel was helping the Lord, assisting Eli. Messages from the Lord were very rare in those days, but one night after Eli had gone to bed, he was almost blind with age by now. Samuel was sleeping at the temple near the ark. The Lord called out, Samuel, Samuel. Yes, Samuel replied to his Lord. What is it? He jumped up and ran to Eli. Here I am, my Lord. What do you want? He asked. I didn't call you, boy. Go back to bed. So he did. Then the Lord called him again. And again Samuel jumped up and ran to Eli. Yes, yes, my Lord, what do you need? No, I didn't call you, my son, Eli said. Go back to bed. For Samuel was a good servant, and he'd never seen a message from Jehovah before. So now the Lord called to him yet a third time, and Samuel jumped up and ran to Eli. Yes, what is it you need, Father? Then Eli realized that it was the Lord who had spoken to the child. So he said to Samuel, Go lie down. If he calls again, say, Yes, Lord, I'm listening. So Samuel went back to bed. The Lord called for Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel replied, Yes, I'm listening. Then the Lord said unto Samuel, I'm going to do a shocking thing in Israel. I'm going to do all the dreadful things I warned Eli about. I have continually threatened him and his entire family with punishment because his sons are blaspheming against God. He doesn't stop them. So I have vowed that the sins of Eli and his sons shall never be forgiven, and his sacrifice offerings. Samuel stayed in bed until the morning, then opened the doors from the temple, as usual, for he was afraid to tell Eli what the Lord had said to him. this is a little bit funny because you don't realize, because this is what it's appearing to me, and judging by the situation, is that in their sleep, the Lord is coming through the Father and speaking through him and giving him a message. And so he's telling him, he's interpreting his dream. It's a play on the same story of Nebuchadnezzar of interpreting the king's dream. It's a common master's relationship. And so, but in this one, it's some form of a mysterious thing, especially you can't look upon him. They don't even know they need to have a barrier. It's sort of, you need to have veils between yourself and God. I've actually never seen God the Father, and you couldn't. When you see pictures of God the Father like Zeus, that's a heresy in some sense. If you want to imagine a figure speaking throughout the Testament and the images of Christ, the images of God, the Messiah that we see in the Old Testament, and the image of the being hovering over the waters and things like that, Christ is good. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a comedy here. But Eli called him because he was scared. He was staying in bed. "My son," he said, "what did the Lord say to you? Please tell me everything. May God punish me if you hide anything from me." So Samuel told him what the Lord had said. "It is the Lord's will," Eli replied. "Let him do what he thinks best." As Samuel grew old, the Lord was with him, and people listened carefully to his advice. And all of Israel from Dan to Beersheba knew Samuel, and he was going to be a prophet of the Lord. Then the Lord began to give him messages into the tabernacle in Shiloh, and he gave him messages at the tabernacle, and he passed them out to the people of Israel. At that time, Israel was at war with the Philistines, and the Israeli army was camped near Ebenezer. The Philistines at Aphek, and the Philistines defeated Israel, killing thousands of them. After the battle was over, the army of Israel returned to their camp, and their leaders discussed why the Lord had left them defeated. "Let's bring the ark from the Shiloh," they said. "If we carry it into battle with us, the Lord will come along, and he will surely save us from our enemies." So they sent the ark of the Lord, who the Lord had given them up from heaven and throned above all angels. Then Hophni and Phinehas, the sons of the Ephli, accompanied into battle. Fuck! Why would they do that, you idiots? And when the Israelis saw the ark was coming, their shout for joy was loud, that it almost made the ground shake. Sorry, am I too loud? Sorry. Bless. Sorry. "What's going on?" the Philistines asked. "What's all the shouting about over in the camp of the Hebrews?" When they were when they were told it was because the ark of the Lord had arrived, they panicked. "God has come into their camp," they cried out. "Woe upon us, for we've never had to face anything like this before. Who can save us from the mighty God of Israel? They are the same gods who destroyed the Egyptians with the plagues, and it was in the wilderness. Fight as you never have before, O Philistines." So, thinking about where the ark is these days, where could it be? Interesting question. Was Jesus Christ the ark? You know? Pretty sure he actually was. You know? It's like I think the Nebuchadnezzar statue was a counterfeit ark. I, the single man, not the two angels in worship, the tomb inside. You know. So, yeah, pretty sure, pretty sure, pretty sure. We will become their slaves, just as they've been ours. So the Philistines fought desperately, and Israel was defeated again. 30,000 men of Israel died that day, and the remainder fled into their tents, and the ark was captured. Sorry. I. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he says, yeah, they were all panicked. And then he says, fight as never before, O Philistines, or we will become their slaves, just as they have been ours. They got the fear of God in them. So their fear, it's the fear of Israel, it's the fear of God. That's kind of interesting. And so the Philistines fought desperately, and Israel was defeated again. 30,000 men of Israel died. I'm not laughing. The ark was captured. The ark of God was captured, and Hophni and Phinehas were killed. A man from the tribe of Benjamin ran from battle and arrived at Shelah the same day with his clothes torn and dirt on his head. Eli was waiting beside the road to hear the news of battle. For his heart trembled. I can't. My face is too tired of crying. Okay. For his heart trembled for the safety of the ark of God. As the messenger from the battlefront arrived and told him what had happened, a great cry throughout the city. What is all the noise about? Eli asked, and the messenger rushed over to Eli and told him what had happened. And Eli was 98 years old and was blind. I have come from battle. I was there today, he told Eli. And Israel has been defeated, and thousands of Israeli troops are dead in battle. Hophni and Phinehas were killed too, and the ark has been captured. When the messenger mentioned what had happened to the ark, Eli fell backward from his seat beside the gate, and his neck was broken before he learned the fate of his sons. Because he knew, you know. He was old and fat. He had judged Israel for 40 years. When Eli's daughter-in-law, his wife, who was pregnant, heard that the ark had been captured and that her husband and father-in-law were dead, her labor pains suddenly began. Just before she died, women who were attending her told her everything was all right. Baby was a boy. But she did not reply or respond in any way. That she murmured, named the child Ishbad for Israel's glorious God. She named him this because the Ark of God had been captured because her husband and father-in-law were dead. The Philistines took the captured Ark of God from the battleground of Ebenezer to the temple of their idol Dagon in the city of Ashdod. But when the local citizens went to see it the next morning, Dagon had fallen. Hey, I'm gonna call that. I gotta take a break. No, we can still go. We can still keep going, actually. Yeah, no, I'm fine. Just give me a second here. Okay. You know. When you play together the concepts of childhood and adulthood, you also really understand war, That is really unfortunate. I don't mean to sound sad about that. you know, and I don't have to step into that, by the way. I know I have to step into this. I don't. I can. But I really, I really love. So I'm like, I'm really torn. It's hard. All right, so what we got here? So they took the captured ark. When the local citizens went to see it the next morning, Dagon had fallen with his face to the ground before the ark of Jehovah. They that's their idol. So similar like what we have today, people have little objects they set on their mantelpiece, and then they they looked at it a little bit differently. Are we people don't really notice what they're doing with their mantelpiece things? They did. So they had these objects that were their centerpieces of their societies and things that had powers and agencies that were greater than any one person. But nothing compared to the God of Israel. Because the God of Israel is God. It's not an idol. It's not a magic trick. It's not a coincidence. The God that divides the waters is for you. When God makes the sun rise so it's warm enough so you can wake up, that's for you. You understand? So, so God could operate outside of time and space, could intervene in ways that are real. inconsistent. Understand? Like, that's the idea between the two staffs. So Moses' staff is a real staff, and it can turn to a stake and back to a staff. It's sort of like the expert martial arts old Chinese fighter that pretends like he's drunk, and then suddenly he kicks off his boots, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm actually a young man," something like Yoda, you know. Versus, you often meet thieves who pretend to be drunk. It's a way of of letting things fall in their bag. They walk away with your lighter, and you don't notice it, and things like that. It's a fun, like, nice way of doing things, I guess. I don't like it. You walk around these objects. You think it'll save them. It's uncomfortable. It's underneath. But when you go underneath there, it's just another drunk person. You know what I'm saying? There's no mastery. They don't know what they're doing. So, they can't actually hold a contract if wouldn't be good for them, Versus sometimes I act drunk before I establish a contract because I'm just following whatever another person does. Maybe that's not acting drunk. That's kind of the idea. Like, a drunk person's really like, oh, their own sense of willpower is lowered, and they're willing to be more socially mutual. So yeah, that's a way of thinking about it. So that also boils down to something I was talking about here. All right. Oh yeah. Is that God's power is consistent. It's like, imagine if every time you returned to a dream, you saw the same image, something like that. Because normally what happens is you go to a dream and you do something, you return, and then it's like, it's done. You know. You know. Yeah. Okay. All right. So they set up their little idol again, but the next morning the same thing happened. The idol had fallen down before the ark of the Lord. This time the head had fallen off, as if it had been cut, and it was lying in the doorway. Only the trunk of the body was left intact. That is why to this day neither the priests of Dagon nor his worshippers will walk at the threshold of the temple of Dagon of Ashdod. Then the Lord began to destroy the people of Ashdod and the nearby villages with the plague of boils. Then, when the people realized what was happening, they exclaimed, "We can't keep the ark of God of Israel here any longer. We will all perish before our God. We will all perish along with our God, Dagon." So they called a conference with the mayors of the 5 cities of the Philistines and decided to dispose of the ark. The decision was taken to this decision was to take it to Gath. But when the ark arrived at Gath, the Lord began destroying its people, young, old, with a plague, with a great panic. So the ark of Akron, the ark was sent to Akron. But when the people of Akron saw it coming, they cried out, nah, you ain't bringing that ark of the God here. It's going to kill us too. So then they summoned the mayors again and begged them to send the ark back to its own country, lest the entire city die. For the plagues had already begun. With great fear was sleeping across the city. Those who didn't die were deathly ill. there was weeping everywhere. All right, this is. I usually like to end like something more like reading well, at least. What time is it? 40 minutes. I got time more time before next church. All right. The ark remained in the Philistine country for 7 months in all. The Philistines called their priests and diviners and asked them, "What shall we do about the ark of God? What sort of gift shall we send with it? When we return it to its own land?" "Yes, send it back with a gift," they were told. Send a. Yeah. So they asked their priests, "What guilt offering shall we send?" They asked. They were sold. They were told, "Send 5 gold bottles of tuber caused by the plague." Gold models. So is that something you could get from a type of tubers? You could get little like a pearl. 5 gold bottles of rats that have ravaged gold bottles, or just gold bottles means perfect. Yes. Okay. That have ravaged the city, the capital cities and villages alike. If you send these gifts and praise the God of Israel, perhaps he will stop persecuting you and your gods. Don't be stubborn and rebellious as Pharaoh and the Egyptians were. They wouldn't let Israel go until God had destroyed them with dreadful plagues. Now, build the new cart at which to hitch 2 cows that have just had calves, cows that have never been yoked, and shut their calves away from them in the barn. Place the ark of God on the cart. Oh my god. Wait, I need to know what this means though. It's usually actually pretty simple if you get it because it's like the patterns go in a direction. Now build a cart and hitch it to 2 cows that have just had calves. So I mean, so the cows know suffering. The cows basically have a really good life, and then they make them suffer, and then they're like, "Yeah, yikes." You know how you hit that rock, it'll give you salvation or whatever or something? I don't know, right? Is that what it is? But you cast out with all their sin, their suffering. Cows that have never before been yoked, and shut their calves away from them in the barn. Place the ark of God on the cart beside the chest containing the gold bottles of the rats' tumors, and let the cows go wherever they want. If the Wait a minute, I just realized, like, you really need Christ to interpret all of this. Otherwise, this is nonsense. Because we can't be doing that anymore. If they cross the border of our land and go to Beth Shemesh, then you'll know that it was God. Wait, what? Cart beside the chest containing the gold models. Rats, let the cows go wherever they want. If they cross the border of our land and go into Beth Shabbat, then you will know it was God who brought this great evil upon us. If they don't, but return to their calves, then we will know that the plague was simply coincidence and not sent by God at all. So if they return to their calves, they'll know it was not God. Yeah, they're doing. So they're doing. This is exactly like it. They're doing a fake ritual. They're doing the same. It's another play of earlier. They're doing a sacrifice that set up to their own benefit. You see it? You see it? They're getting a trick animal that's artificially deployed to return back to them, and then they say, "If it comes back, we're cool." See it looking. We're good for magicians. Yeah, that happens a lot. So, do you understand the pattern there? Exactly. That's perfect. That's so interesting. So, yeah, it's not going to work. So the instructions were carried out. 2 first cars were hitched to the car, and the calves were shut up in the barn. The ark of the Lord and the chest containing the gold rats and tubes were placed upon the cart. And they were sure enough the cows went straight along the road to the missioners, lowering as they went. And the Philistine, the mares, followed them as far as the border. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Because I guess they are following a thing. They're following the plagues. Okay, I'm missing here. Something like returning it all from whence it came. And if the nature thinks it's right, it's okay. It's like, what is nature more right? Returning this from whence it came? Or returning back home? Maybe if that's something like that. Cool. They returned with joy. The cart came into the field, and a man named Joshua stepped beside. Ooh, Joshua stepped beside a large rock. So the people broke up the wood of the cart and killed the cows and sacrificed them to the Lord as a burnt offering. Several men of the tribe of Levi lifted the ark of the chest containing the golden rats. I say ark or cart. And the chest containing tumors. And many burnt offerings and sacrifices were offered to the Lord that day by the men of Beth Shemesh. After 5 Philistine mayors had watched for a while, they returned to Alkron the same day. The 5 gold models of tumors, which had been sent by the Philistines as guilt offerings to the Lord, were gifts from the mayors of the capital cities Ashdod, Gaza, Ashkelon, Gath, and Akron. The gold rats were to placate God for the Philistine cities, both the fortified cities and the country villages controlled by the 5 capitals. But by the way, was they talking to me? By the way, that large rock at Bashamash can still be seen in the Joshua. Is that what? Okay. But the Lord killed 70 of the men of Beth Shemesh, because they looked into the ark, and the people mourned because of the many people whom the Lord had killed. Who is able to stand before Jehovah, this holy God? They cried out. Where can we send the ark from here? So they sent messengers to the people at Karath Jaram and told them that the Philistines had brought back the ark of the Lord. Come, get it, they begged. What? Wait, what was the end? People mourned because many people whom the Lord had killed. Who is able to stand before Jehovah, this holy God? They cried out. Where can we send the ark from here? So they sent messengers to the people at Kiriath-Jearim, and told them that the Philistines had brought back the ark of the Lord. Come and get it, they begged. Okay, I get it. That's the Philistines saying that in the last line. Alright, so I'm going to stop. I'm tired. Thanks. Actually, let's do a proper. name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thy will be done. Thy kingdom come, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us from evil. For thine is the power, the glory, for eternity. I said one of those parts a little bit out of order, but it's okay. Thank you guys.